Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today for our new series of webinars focused on high-speed networks. Today, Nick Peony and Bill Kuba will be talking about Metro Ethernet. My name is Jessica Petrohoy, and I'm the Marketing Coordinator at FiberOptic.com. FiberOptic.com is a leading provider of fiber optic products, training, and rental equipment. Optical engineers are facing increased challenges of upgrading the bandwidth speeds of their networks. If you're building a new network or managing an existing network, understanding these challenges can save your company time and money. At this time, I would like to introduce Nick Peony. Nick is one of our senior sales engineers and our sales manager at FiberOptic.com. Nick has nearly a decade of experience with switching and routing, network security, DWDM, and CWDM networks. When the webinar is finished, we'll be taking questions from the GoToWebinar question box at the bottom of the screen. Thank you again for joining us today, and at this time, I will turn the presentation over to Nick.
Hello, everybody. Just wanted to say, thank you again for attending. We're gonna get into some great topics with this series moving forward, and especially today's Metro Ethernet. Everybody's asking about it. Everybody's been calling us and looking for some advice and asking, what are other people doing in the industry? How are they doing it? So we're going to do a nice overview today. Again, thank you very much for attending. The presentation here, again, we'll provide an overview of Metro Ethernet technology and why and where it's used, its benefits in the industry, as well as the industry certifications as well. Metro Ethernet became more and more popular over the past few years, and we're seeing a lot more of the service providers and carriers adopt this technology. But first, FOM. FOM stands for Fiber Optic Marketplace. FiberOptic.com is our website. So if you hear me use the term FOM, I'm talking the Fiber Optic Marketplace located at FiberOptic.com. We're physically located in Brenningsville, Pennsylvania, and we've assisted customers for the past 15 years with fiber optic components, active and passive equipment, fusion splicers, power meters, and since then, we've grown leaps and bounds. We began as an online business-to-business portal for the fiber optic community, and we quickly became the #1 online provider of fiber optic connectivity components. We've also expanded our business both domestically and internationally. Outside of the connectivity components we offer, we also have a field service division. So in addition to the previously mentioned products, we have a full line of services we offer through our partners. We offer project management, professional services straight through EF&I, and now EF&I and T as well, which is engineer, furnish, install, and test platforms. We also offer classroom and on-site trainings. So this slide here is just going to kind of give you an idea of where we're doing our trainings. We train all over the world. We are located in Brenningsville, Pennsylvania, but as you can see by this map, we go everywhere. If someone needs us, we will bring the classroom to you. You're probably asking yourself, well, who are we working with? Because I mentioned these carriers are contacting us, and we're working with a lot of people when it comes to Metro and carrier Ethernet. Some of these logos you will recognize, others you will not. But the point of this slide here is to show you we're working with everybody from your top high-level carriers, the U.S. Army. I was on the phone a couple weeks ago working with a local car dealership. It was a campus environment they had set up, and they had some packet loss. So essentially, we're working with everybody, whether it's a carrier, a hospital, a school, just about everybody. I apologize. You got to see my ugly face here, but this is my contact information here. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from anybody that's on the WebEx today. My background here, as you can see, I'm not going to read these off to you, but I've been in the industry for better part of a decade. I have a very strong fiber background. I started off as a characterization test engineer, testing the fiber optic spans for carriers all over the country. Picked up CWDM and DWDM networks, worked in that for quite some time. And switching and routing, the network security it was ultimately I missed fiber. I know as odd as that sounds, but I missed fiber, so I came back to the fiber side of the industry. But you can see the aspects of the industry that I've worked in over the years. This is Bill. Bill's an engineer, network engineering consultant. He's also one of our senior trainers here. He's held positions in the past of the Director of Infrastructure and Technology. Bill is MEF CECP 2.0 certified. He's got CCNA. Bill's outstanding. He's done a great job with trainings for us. Whenever he gets in front of a classroom or online. So let's dig right in. What's Metro Ethernet? You can see the definition here. It's the use of carrier Ethernet in a MAN or the metro area network. Now the difference here, you might say, well, what's carrier Ethernet? Carrier Ethernet's on your larger scale. I'm just going to use the term WAN for that. So nationally, Metro Ethernet would be in a metro area. I'm going to pass it on to Bill now. Bill, go ahead, hop right in.
Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit more about that Metro Ethernet. This new product of Metro Ethernet offers cost-effectiveness, reliability, scalability, and bandwidth management that's really superior to most of the proprietary networks you've seen or used in the past. And some of those legacy networks are frame relay. Some of you are, I'm sure, familiar with point-to-point circuits, ATM circuits, TDM circuits, Ethernet over MPLS. A lot of those circuits, as you know, you may be familiar with. You may have ordered hundreds of them in the past. You're very comfortable with them, but you know that they have shortcomings or shortfalls to those. And one of the things, of course, is all of your applications and all of your networks run off Ethernet, and you want to pass traffic over those networks. You have to convert that traffic to a different technology and convert back. And that definitely doesn't give you the flexibility and abilities that you're going to see with the Metro Ethernet. With the new Metro Ethernet technology, you can see in this diagram here, you have an interface like you did before on each side, but in this case, it's going to tie you into this Ethernet network that is not going to change your net packet, not going to alter it, not going to try to break. Like for ATM, you break it all into little pieces and transfer it, and then put it all back together on the other side. That's going to happen at another layer. But for you using it, you're not going to have to think about those changes or plan for those changes to use this technology. So you're going to have this dedicated connection to the provider network, which is going to give you end-to-end Ethernet capabilities. And here you see it on the diagram that before I've got Ethernet, I'm going off to some legacy technology. It's analog. It's a T1, T3, the frame relay to another Ethernet connection, and then there's going to be some delay in translating those packets between the technologies. There's going to be some expense because it's not simple. It's going to have to be complicated. I'm going to have to use whatever the provider needs me to use. And at the bottom, you see that to be able to go end-to-end Ethernet. I'm going to give this pass to Nick.
Thanks, Bill. Let's get into the benefits of Metro Ethernet. So benefits of Metro Ethernet, ease of use, flexibility, and cost. Basically, it's broken up into three categories here. So ease of use, Ethernet service is delivered in a widely accepted, broadly used and well understood Ethernet interface. Essentially, all network equipment and hosts use Ethernet today. So the use of Ethernet for data connections simplifies the network operations, management, administration, and the delivery of additional or new services. So it's very easy to use. It's very easy to deploy. It's very easy to configure. That's really the ease of use in a nutshell. Flexibility. It allows subscribers to utilize the technology in ways the old technology could not be. For example, a business could use a single connection to bring in connections from multiple business partners, other branch sites, and to bring in internet access. Bandwidth can also be increased and decreased in minutes rather than days or weeks without the use of additional equipment. Now, let's think this for a second, folks. You're using your routers and switches here. So to deploy that, you probably already have that. I hope you already have that at the gateway of your network. If not, please tell me. I'd love to hear about that. But to configure this and to deploy it, it's very easy. to turn somebody's service up, it's not going to be weeks or months. Sometimes it can even be same day. So it is very, very flexible. Cost benefits. Because there's no special equipment required, that's a huge cost savings in itself right there. It has the lower operational costs, which is big. Services can also be sold in increments. Say if 20 megabits per second is needed, the customer doesn't have to pay for a full DS3 of 45 megabits per second. Only pays for really what's used, which is nice for the customer. A single interface can be used with multiple services, which Bill will get into here in a couple minutes. This is going to save on interface charges and lowers the cost of deployment. So I'm going to turn it back over to Bill here, and Bill's going to get into the types of Ethernet services.
Right. The major types are listed here. You see that there's an E-line, which is like a point interface. E-LAN, which is more of a several destinations on that same network. E-tree, which has some special abilities. There are routes and there are leaves, and built into this model is that routes can talk to each other, and routes can talk to leaves. Leaves can talk to routes, but leaves can't talk to each other. So if you're in a scenario where you're a military installation and security is extremely important to you, that you have some central command and control, you may have the roots of your Ethernet be the command and control, and the leaves be all the installation, so they can't talk to each other, but can talk to the command and control, and vice versa. Command and control can talk to all the leaves, but doesn't have to worry about security of these these other facilities passing traffic that's unwanted between them. I'm going to go through these a little more detail right here. First, we've got E-line. E-line is a point-to-point. You'd be familiar in the past. You probably use ATM. You probably use frame relay. You may have used dedicated point-to-point circuits. This is the same model of that, where you have an endpoint on each end, and then this dedicated link. But in this case, your traffic stays Ethernet the entire way. In this model, you see where these are labeled as routes. This is like you're having several branch offices that want to talk to each other, several data centers that want to talk to each other. You're filming, and you have different sites where you're filming data. You're filming you're filming, and then you want to transfer that data to where it's going to be edited. So you've got different locations that are all connected on the same network. This is what this model is for. And lastly, as we spoke before a minute ago about E-tree, you've got a model where there are several routes and there are several leaves, and the routes can talk to the leaves. As you can see in the middle, it may be hard to see, but there's arrows that indicate the leaf is passing traffic back, but these cannot talk to each other. Here's a little more, just another diagram to just compare the three types: E-line, the point-to-point; E-LAN, the multi-point; E-tree with the roots and the leaves. And again, the leaves aren't going to pass traffic amongst each other. Some features to this service: communicast, multicast, and broadcast support. Well, many of you guys who are used to doing networks know that multicast can be hard to support over WAN connections, and can be even a special circuit you'll have to use, or additional price you have to pay. This is something that's built into the Metro Ethernet model. You wouldn't have to do anything to make multicast work. VLAN tagging support end-to-end. You could have a true VLAN on two ends of a WAN connection. And previous is that something that's very difficult to do. It's not impossible to have. Once you go into a router, the VLAN has to exist on that one part of the router. You don't need to know how to route. But here, you have VLAN tagging support end-to-end. So when you tag it as VLAN 12, even on the other end, that same VLAN 12. So you truly have this network that users are in, but in two physically different locations, so you can treat them the same. VLAN mapping support. This allows you to put different VLAN tags to different services. Let's say you have a site that has 7 different networks, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, all those, those VLAN tags are going to be backed up. Well, your backup provider is connected to you via Metro Ethernet. You could now take, by mapping this way, instead of having to say, well, 10 has to go here and 20, you could do this with a mapping where it's this list of VLAN tags will map to this service that were connected and go off to my backup vendor and send that data that way. It makes it much easier to use. And class of service. You have voice, you have data. Sorry, you have voice or you have video. You know that it's very important how those packets are treated, or they don't work very well. Well, in this case, this will allow you to do QoS end-to-end. In the older technologies, you would have to often pass traffic off to the WAN, and then when you receive it at the other end, you'd have to retag it at the ingress to make sure it was still prioritized once you got it back in your hands again. Well, in this case, you could tag it, and those tags will be preserved so that it will know its voice. It will know that it's supposed to be treated at a higher priority. Service multiplexing. This is where you put more than one service in on that one connection. You buy a Metro Ethernet connection. You decide you want to use it for internet access. So you'd use that. Down the road, Bloomberg comes along and says we need to have data feed coming in so we can send you trade data. You could say, well, I already have a connection to the network. Can you just connect onto that, and they'll be able to put that service, a new service, on the existing interface. That'll save you the interface cost, and it also means you can get it done quickly. And if you need more, you'll be able to jump it up to another, to more bandwidth down the future without, again, as Nick said, in days, not in weeks or not a whole 6 to 8 weeks. For a new circuit. And bundling. With bundling, you can say, I want to have these VLANs go to a single service. I kind of went over that with that backup model where we took 10 different tags, 10 different VLAN tags, and sent them off to a backup. That's the same idea, but that when you're doing something like that, where you're taking several different VLANs off to one service, that's called bundling. So that is another thing that's not available when you look at your legacy services. And I'm back to Nick.
Thanks, Bill. So let's talk about the certification. That's the new hot ticket here. Everybody's asking. What is MEF CECP? As you can see right here on the screen, what it's defined as. Why is it important? Why should you care about that? In today's industry, it's a big deal. The certification. Why is it important to you? As a corporation, it shows that the engineers, your architects, your sales engineers, even your sales folks know what they're talking about when it comes to Metro Ethernet. This technology is really spreading like crazy right now. For the 3 reasons Bill and I have been talking about. It's very easy to deploy. It's flexible. It's cost effective. So when you're approaching somebody as a sales engineer, having that certification gives you instant credibility, as well as your architects. They know the technology, they understand it. This is an industry recognized cert. Individuals. Why would somebody want to take the certification? Reason being, it makes you more marketable to your company. It adds value to you as an employee. Also, a chance for increased earning potential, and it really shows you know what you're talking about, and you know what you're doing when using the technology. So, thinking now, well, you think, well, I would like to take the test. I'd like to get certified. Well, how do you go about doing that? You can look, and just get a book and read it, which you don't recommend doing because you really want that training. So, before I hop into the training, let's look at the growth. Look at the numbers here. June of 2012, June of 2013, and June of 2014. The number of MEF CECPs is crazy. It's growing like crazy because this technology is being used more and more by the carriers today. So I'm expecting this number now again. In 2015, I expect that to jump double, probably triple. So training. We offer this training. We offer a 5-day boot camp for the MEF CECP test. It's actually 5 days here, but it's a 4-day class, and it's a 1 day of review. So 5 days, 5 8-hour days, we should say. What you get, it's the boot camp. You get an MEF CECP 2.0 exam voucher. You get the exam guide, the book, the study guide. We also give you a TFS certification. TFS, real quick, is the fiber school. One of fiberoptic.com's division that we talked about earlier is training. We do training all over the world. The fiber division, the training division is called the fiber school. So on top of the boot camp, you get a TFS Metro Ethernet certification as well as the exam voucher. Take the MEF CECP. So questions. Please enter some questions if you have any in the question box. We'd love to hear from you here. Again, we talked about this in the last installment of this series, but I'd love to hear from you, from anybody on the WebEx today, as would Bill. We're doing a bunch of different topics throughout the year, but ultimately I want to hear from you. What are your challenges? What are you seeing in the industry? What are the challenges you're facing day to day? We had somebody reach out and ask, I have a CWDM system deployed, and I'd like to roll over to DWDM. Can you help us with that? Yeah, the answer to that is yes, of course. We will be talking about that in a future installment. Which wavelengths they're using, how to roll over into a DWDM, system, what the cost could be. We're really going to dig into that. But ultimately, if you have any questions, whether it's DAS, SCADA, whatever, please, please send it to me. I will display my contact information again, but please do send it to me because I'd love to hear from you. I'd also like to hear your feedback. Was this WebEx too technical? Was it not technical enough? Please, love to hear about that. So we did have a question come through. What is the difference between Metro Ethernet and Carrier Ethernet? This is a common question, and I'll let Bill jump on here in a second as well. But Metro Ethernet, done in the metropolitan area. Carrier Ethernet, your long haul, your national networks. So Bill, do you want to add to that?
No, that's absolutely correct. The Carrier Ethernet is allowing Ethernet to cross over those long distances. Some of the underlying of this technology is something that they're going to hide from you, so that they may use some legacy network to pass the traffic, but the result is for you using it is Ethernet and that. And yes, so like you said, carrier, you'll see it nationwide or worldwide. Metro Ethernet initially was done in a smaller area. However, to be honest, they now sell that nationwide and worldwide. So it's the line of that's actually getting kind of blurred. So where Carrier Ethernet, you say, well, that's just that's nationwide. Yeah, you can get Metro Ethernet nationwide as well.
Yep. So we talked briefly about the EF&I and T services, engineer, furnish, install, and test services we offer. We've had some carriers, we've had some small telcos and ISPs reach out to us, internet providers or internet service providers reach out to us and ask if we can help them deploy Metro Ethernet technology within the network, and partner with them and help them design it. And the answer to that is yes. We would love to help you with that. We'd love to help you with that. So.
Yeah, we have experience in that area. We know how to save you the money. We may see what kind of circuits you have and what kind of needs you have, and we'd may be able to fill needs that you currently have with the existing circuits without having to add any additional cost at all.
Sure. Hey, Bill, we just had another question come through asking about DWDM and if Metro Ethernet supports it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. The great thing about this, as Bill talked about earlier, is the legacy platforms and how this fits in. Bill, do you want to recap on that quick?
Yeah, DWDM, that's wavelength division multiplexing. Without getting too technical, this is used to increase bandwidth over existing fiber optic backbones, right? So being that this technology is already something that it may help you pass the traffic, and you want to be able to leverage your network to do that. Again, we could help you if you're interested in that and how to do all that. It is a complicated question without being too far into it. I would say the answer is yes.
Great, great. Thanks, Bill. I guess that's going to pretty much bring us to a close today. I really do appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day. I know how it is. You know, we're all running like crazy. So again, here's my ugly mug, and then you know, is Bill's photo as well. This is my contact information, my my direct line, my email address. You can also find me on LinkedIn. If you need anything, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Bill and I can have some conversations with anybody, separately outside of this WebEx directly, and feel free to pick our brains. Even if there's really no stupid question when it comes to fiber optics. Some people may disagree, but especially when you're talking about technology, in this sense, whether it's CWDM, DWDM, Carrier Ethernet, Metro Ethernet, there's no stupid question at all. Call us. We'd love to chat with you. If you need us to help you deploy something, let us know. We'd love to help you there too. So thank you all again, and we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. And with that, we're going to bring this to a close.
Thank you, everybody.